Hello, this short video demonstrates how to use the playground at Critical.com. As you can see, this playground is built on top of the open source version of MIT Scratch. So I will focus on the new features we have added. Let's start with the block list on the left. As you can see, the block list will auto hide by itself, but you can pin it using this small button if you want to keep it visible. There is a search box on the top left where you can search for text on any block. For example, if you're looking for if blocks, you can just type if. It will give you all the blocks that has the word if on it. And then there are two black categories that are new. There's a recent, which are the blocks you recently used, like the if block I just added it, so it's added to the top of the list. And then the frequent category are the blocks you used the most in the past. So you can look for, these are like your favorite blocks. So you can easily find them here instead of going to search for them. And there are two new blocks, new categories added related to 3D. You have 3D scene and the 3D object. For example, let's create a 3D box. So you can run it just like any 2D Scratch program, but the window, the stage on the top right will be converted to a 3D window. And the controls below it are also changed to support 3D. You can see on the top right, there are a few more options for you to change the window layout. For example, if you go to full screen mode, we utilize the full width of the page to give you a better presentation of the program. There is also a new 3D view, which shows half of the space for 3D window, and then use the other half for your code blocks. This also gives you a better view on the program. And on the top of the editor, there's another search box, which allows you to search inside the program you already wrote. For example, if I search for add, and it will zoom into the first block that has the word add on it. And it also works on text inside the block. For example, I've defined a block called test. If I type test here, it will zoom into that. And then if I use the arrow, it will zoom into the next block that has test on it. So if the program is large, this allows you to easily look for blocks. And you see for big stacks with more than one blocks, there is an arrow button to help you collapse that stack or unwind it. This way, if you have a lot of small stacks of programs, you can collapse the ones that you already know and focus on the one you are working on. So this makes your work area much cleaner. Besides so that's it about the code editor. For the costume editor, there isn't a lot of change. There are a few new shapes that are added, and we also made it possible for you to change the lines, the edges, the outline to add some dashes. For example, if you change the dash width to be not 0, then you see the outlines will show us a short stroke of this width and then a space with this width. And then the sound tab is almost the same as before. All right, that's good. So on the top of the stage, you see, besides the share button that is the same as the Visual Scratch version before, there are also two new buttons. The Share with Friend button will allow you to share a project only to other users who are friends of yours. So this way, you can limit the project to the friends if you don't want to share it to everyone on the platform. There's also a new Publish button, which allow you to share the project for others to play with, but they cannot look inside the project to look for the source code, and they cannot remix it. So this is very similar to the closed source software programs that we see. So this is very useful for teachers if you want to give students a challenge, right? You can publish a new project and ask the students to try to replicate what you have there. But since they cannot look at the source code of that project, they have to figure it out themselves. So that's an addition way for you to manage who can access your project and how. Lastly, let's look at how you can look at your own projects and other people's projects. Let's go to the My Stuff page. So similar as the official Scratch, you can see all the projects you have here, including whether they're private or they're shared with your friends only. And for each project, as you can see, you can also see a block count. This is like a line count for text-based programming. This gives you a very quick way to estimate the complexity of a project, and you can search for your project now. Unlike in the official Scratch, when you have many projects, this is a very good way for you to look for any project. You can not only search by the name, you can also search by the block that is used inside that that project. For example, if I search for box, you see none of these have the box or the word box in them in the title, right? But they all use some kind of a 3D block that contains the word box. That's why they are listed here. And in this drop down, you have some additional controls, such as filter by the number of blocks, the range of number of blocks used, or blocks that has been visited by other users. Or you can limit to 3D only or 2D only projects. So that is for My Stuff. And then there's also the Explore page where you can look at other projects shared by all users. And you can search using this search box as well. And it works very similarly. For example, if I search for texture, it will show us all the projects that have used the block that contains the word texture. So if you're trying to learn how to add texture to your 3D object, this will be a very quick way for you to look at how other people are using texture. And for each project, you also see the number of favorites, the number of views, and the number of blocks used in that project. Like this project has 89 blocks in there, and this one only has 12. Obviously, this first one is a more complex project. And in the drop-down for the search, you can use some similar filters, such as only search for within the project shared by your friends, 2D or 3D, whether the project is shared or it is shared or published, right? As I mentioned earlier, if it is published, you can play it, but you cannot look into the source code of it. And whether it's 2D or 3D, and you can also filter by the number of blocks used. For example, if you are a beginner, you just want to look for simple programs, you can limit the block count to a smaller number so that only the simpler projects are returned. Once you apply, you can do it. Now the search results only contain simple projects with block count less than the number 31 as specified. So that concludes this introduction. Feel free to send your question or comments to us at the email info@creaticecode.com. Thank you.